90s. I think it helped us all in so many ways, and it's really exciting because it's changed so much, the family drama, the family dynamic. But they were ahead of their time. The actors were amazing. They've gone on to do so many amazing things individually, and I'm going to be really excited to chat with them today. And then I'm going to get to your questions. So just stay tuned for that. Okay, I'm going to try to get to as many as I possibly can. So please welcome to the stage Lacey Chabert, Scott Wolf, and Nev Campbell. Hey guys, now you like those flashes are never that great, by the way. You can see the flash on your phone. Thank you. It's most people. Hi, welcome to the stage. Hi, Ned. Hi, Scott. I randomly said hi to both of you like I knew you. I know Lacey, because Lacey and I were both Broadway kids. Yes. Flying in. We're having mic issues.
Coming in hot.
This is the first. There we go. I think we call that a pregnant pause. Yeah, so Lacey and I were part of a troupe before Party of Five called the Broadway Kids.
212.
Does anyone know about the Broadway Kids? If you do, you must be from the East Coast. I feel like they were a very East Coast phenomenon,
and
right?
Someone actually brought me the CD today, and I signed it, and it brought back so many memories.
That's amazing!
Yeah.
Do you remember the song, The Broadway Kids? We love playing our parts.
Oh, yes.
Because we're the Broadway Kids.
Yes.
Show up. Anyway,
I just brought it all back.
Lacey obviously has a big background in theater, and that's kind of how our lives were interconnected in the beginning. And I was so excited when she hit it big, you know? Like, she hit it big, she got out of New York, and she was on this big show, Party of Five. And we were all rooting for her, and we were so excited. Yes, what was that like? I'm just curious, because you had so much, like, Broadway background. Sort of like, what was it like for you what did you do, go to this pilot season? Like, how did you end up over there? Did you audition in New York?
I actually auditioned on a tape in New York,
Okay.
and then they flew my mom and I out to do like the whole screen test process, and that's when we all met, we read together. And then it was a really interesting and rare experience where they actually told us on the spot that we got the job.
Oh my God.
I don't think I've ever had that happen since. And I think they said, "You're our Salingers." And it was just like, what? And you know, we've been forever connected since. But it was just an awesome experience. And the show, I mean, you sign on to something hoping it's gonna last for at least one episode, and then 144 episodes later, it was a real blessing.
Yeah. Absolutely. So, Ned, Scott, do you remember meeting little Lacey at the chemistry reading?
Oh my gosh. Was she not just the most adorable thing in the world, but she also is like ridiculously talented. Like probably far more talented than any of us.
Way.
And more experienced. She'd already done Les Mis on Broadway. Like she'd been working for so long. Yeah, I remember Little Lace. It was amazing. I forgot that we were told on the spot. And there was a lot of celebrating and crying that happened. I remember that.
I think it was Amy that said, "You're our Salingers." And we were all like, what?
Amy,
Are you sure?
Wait, like, are you sure?
Is it okay to be happy? Can we be excited?
And Amy was casting, or Amy was?
Chris and Amy
were the creators.
Got it.
Yeah.
Got it.
But I remember in that moment when they said, "You're the Salinger family," everyone looked at each other and there was just this weird feeling of like, yes, we are. Like something's very right about this, you know? Sometimes you could be in a moment like that and be kind of apprehensive and be like, are we the Salingers? But there was something even before we even got started making the show that just felt meant to be.
That was magic. Now, when you guys went into that first episode, was it very different? Like from what you guys were auditioning with? Were they changing it? Were the writers starting to write for you guys over time? Like, what in general, like the plot of your characters, do you feel like it ended up being more or less, like I've heard this a lot this weekend where the writers ended up writing towards the strengths of the actors themselves?
Scott became a drunk. I was a rebel.
They're definitely following my personal.
No. I think as they got to know our personalities, that sensibility was added to the character. But I don't know, it's that chicken and egg thing, because I think the characters were very similar to us in ways from the beginning. I'm trying to remember, I think we did do some of the actual scenes, like our swing scene was an audition piece, wasn't it? That actually was shot in the pilot. Yeah. But yeah, when it comes to the development of the characters, I think that, yeah, they found what our strengths were each, and, you know, they found the characters' stories as we went along, as they, you know, discovered who we should be and what would be interesting to audiences. And it was a great creative process.
That's good.
It was great. We loved working together.
Because it was
really, the energy was just really good. Like tonally, I think our performances, our feeling of family was very, very similar.
And we really did all grow up together.
I mean, you guys look exactly like a family. You couldn't cast more like you guys really do look like siblings, and that's very rare. I feel like sometimes it's like, they kind of guess that it could kind of look like an aunt or a cousin, but like, yes, you guys are a family. It was extremely believable, and also I think with Nev, a lot of people were calling you like the world's most believable teenager with your performance. You know, right out of the gate, it was like you were so grounded.
And I wasn't a teenager. Well, I was 19, I think, when I started, but...
Yeah, so hindsight, you were coming out of that.
Yeah.
And how did you feel then being sort of older and approaching that role? I mean, did you feel like...
I mean, it's not that big a difference, right? I was 19 playing 15, so... It was interesting for me because I hadn't had a normal, and you probably had the same experience. I hadn't had a normal school experience. I hadn't had a normal...
You started with
I was in
ballet?
Phantom of the Opera. Well, I started in ballet, and my first job was Phantom of the Opera. Got it when I was 14 and started when I was 15. And so I didn't do high school. I didn't do, you know, friends my age. I didn't do sort of teen angst. I had my own angst.
Yeah,
but it wasn't your typical angst.
Yeah.
So it was kind of fun for me to get to live that experience and be in that world. It's nice to hear that people said that about comments about.
Oh, an extremely believable teenager. And you know, I don't know if you guys, you don't have teenagers. You don't, I know you don't have teenagers. But it's one of those things where I look at, and I have kids now, right? So it's like we're looking at programming very differently through a parent's eyes. And I have boycotted, I'm sorry to say this, maybe it's an unpopular opinion, I've boycotted Euphoria, at least this season, because it is giving me so much distress internally. And I'm like, I just can't do it, I can't watch it. But it is interesting to see from the 90s and going forward, just how impactful I think Party of Five was to the family drama, the teen drama. You're talking about angst and all that stuff. I mean, can you remark upon maybe the evolution of the tone and like why your creators chose to kind of put certain things like drinking problems at the forefront of people and sort of tackling certain bigger issues?
Yeah, I feel like from the beginning, their intention was to take these young characters seriously. And you know, up until then, teenage characters in series had been kind of written by grown-ups as in a way that they, I don't know, there was something a little condescending about the way younger characters were treated.
Right.
And so this show, I think the intention was to, you know, to treat all of the issues that these young people were going through with seriousness and respect. And so while we were young characters, they were going through some really intense things. Obviously, the whole premise of the show is they had lost their parents and they were fighting to stay together. But there were so many issues of the day, some of them very controversial, you know, but they chose to treat everything really honestly. Matter of fact, I'll never forget how in the Bailey's alcoholism storyline, they told it, you know, on other shows, and no disrespect to other shows, but it was just typical that if a character on a typical teen show in that era was an alcoholic, it would be like 1 week they drank, the next week everyone was like, you have a problem, the week after that they were sober.
Right. And
our story took an entire year, and it was a storyline before anyone even knew it was a storyline. Right. And so our, Amy used to tell me, our creators would say, they were getting calls from writer friends of theirs, like, please tell me this Bailey drinking thing is going somewhere, because it feels like super irresponsible if it's not.
Yeah.
But they were just telling a story in a way that it would actually, hopefully, that it would actually look like in real life. And so I think the respect that they gave all of these characters, even though they were teenagers,
Right.
Really resonated with the audience, and it made them feel like, oh, my life and my story is being taken seriously.
Yeah.
What I think was great about the show is we did, I think Julia, it was the first girl kiss on network television. Obviously we dealt with abortion episodes, and I think what was great is you weren't given just one perspective. You were given, like I loved in the episode where Julia is making a choice about her pregnancy, that Claudia struggled with it. And so you really got to see the inner struggle of families and differences, and where your moral compasses are, and how we all see things in different lights and struggle with things in different ways. And I think that was what was special about the show in a lot of ways.
Yeah, they wrote it very much like a real family in that way. We hear about and it's wonderful to see these casts from sitcoms and stuff like that. Totally different tone. I think you guys are the first drama show that we've spoken to, and it's wonderful to see this concept of family and the way that you guys have stayed connected, and it's very, very different. We were talking about Darius and on From Family Matters, they wrote in that I was racially profiled in life, and they wrote it in, into the thing, and it was a very special Family Matters episode. You know what I mean? But every one of your episodes was a very special episode. How did you guys actually keep it light? How did you guys not just kind of sink, into that?
Yeah, there was a lot. Scott would always snort in my ear when he was trying to clear his phlegm. It drove me nuts, and then we would have a good giggle about it.
No, you know what? I do think you guys would probably agree that there is this inverse relationship between the content.
Maybe she really remembered that hard for some reason.
I know. She was traumatized.
What did the snort sound like, Scott?
I don't think we
I'm just guessing. I
was
don't
that?
really remember. It was a long time ago.
That was it.
But I think when you're doing comedy, everybody is a lot more serious when the cameras aren't rolling, because everyone's like, how do I be funny when the cameras are rolling? And when you're doing drama and you're weeping, and we wept often.
Yeah, there was a lot.
Weekly, I think, weekly.
Yeah, our writers lovingly joked with us, tears would not be inappropriate.
At this
And at the
moment.
very last episode, they gave us these silver little tiny tissue boxes with engraved tears would not be inappropriate.
So I think when you're that emotional on camera, everything has to kind of lighten up when the cameras aren't rolling, or you lose your minds.
We had a lot of fun, and we had an amazing crew as well. The crew had a blast, and we all became a really solid family, because 144, I didn't realize it was that many, but 6 years, and long days. It's when we were still using film
I was just
in a
asking
camera.
you. That's a very elongated
It
process.
took a long time to change the camera mags, and lighting took a long time, all of it. So we would be there, 16 hours a day, sometimes 18, and Friday nights we would finish in the middle of the night, and then Mondays we would start at 5 a.m. and it was long, and it was 10 months a year. So
Wow. Oh my
you
goodness.
become very tight.
Yeah, you have to.
when you're spending that much time together.
That's also such a unique experience to do something for 6 years. I've never had another experience like that in my career since.
Would you want one? Would you want to?
Sure.
Yeah. Okay.
because it was so special, but it's hard to make that happen. And we were so fortunate.
Yeah, everything happens so fast now, especially because everything's digital and everything's streaming, and they're like, let's just keep banging it out, let's keep shooting. That was a very singular experience. Another singular thing I think about Party of Five is that it was sort of the beginning stages of music. There was a great music movement associated. I can only imagine that they put a bunch of money out of their budgets into having certain music placement. Do you remember what that was like watching them be like, oh wow, we have a banging soundtrack?
It was always amazing to watch the episodes back and see how good they were at pairing songs with the scenes, and it was a huge part of the show. Like you said, it was obviously emotion kind of drove everything in our show, and the right scoring and the right songs made a huge difference. I remember towards the end, was it our last season or second last season, where we had REM like in the. Do you guys know who REM is?
Yes.
And they were like in the episode, and we went to a concert. But I listened back to, there's a soundtrack, and it's very limited, right? There's only, 10 or 12 songs?
Oh, yeah.
But it's beautiful, and yeah, I just, I remember being really proud of the role music played in the show.
We had some bands. I think there were a lot of musicians who were actually fans of the show. Like I remember Adam Duritz, Counting Crows. So the Counting Crows were obsessed with Party of Five, and they would bring the VHSs on the tour bus and watch. They would watch Party of Five, which I thought was surreal. But
That's awesome. Yeah, I mean, you know what's fun, interesting when I was doing a little bit of deep diving into this is that the first, was it the first 2 seasons? I'm not sure. There was actually lower ratings.
yeah, oh yeah, we almost got canceled.
Like
after
week
the
to
first
week,
year.
I feel like.
It was TV Guide that saved us. Is TV Guide they did a cover that said the best show you're not watching.
Yeah.
And the audiences wrote in and did a big campaign, and it was the fans and TV Guide that actually saved the show, and they decided to do another season because of that attention.
And back then, when you had to write in, you had
The
to
internet.
physically write in. It wasn't like a tweet,
Yeah.
Like it was. That's amazing. It's always nice to hear that when fans save a show like that, especially back then. It was like
Yeah,
movement.
and now, I mean, all these years later, the show wound up being really successful, and we did 6 seasons. But there were, so the show was airing on Mondays, our first season, and we would come in on Tuesdays, and it was like, click, oh, the lights still work. Okay, we can keep going.
Keep working.
Yay! But week to week, it just kept feeling like we could get canceled at any time.
That's not a good feeling.
No.
That's not a good feeling. And obviously, you guys have all spun off and done so many amazing things since then. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know, maybe like Scream. And I mean, what was that like jumping over to all of that? Because had you left the show and sort of started focusing on more film stuff?
No, I did Scream on the hiatus of my after the second season. Maybe it was after the first season. I can't remember, but it was my first. I mean, I had done The Craft, but it was my first.
Oh, right, of course. I did ask you a quick question about it. So I did see something on BuzzFeed. Somebody said that like there was some witchy stuff that happened. That like when she was doing incantations on the beach, that like there was all the lights went out, and then wasn't there like
an owl flew over,
or like all of the candles got swept into the sea.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Did that happen?
Yeah, I think the girls do talk about that. I don't remember. I have such a terrible memory. I don't remember, but I do remember some creepy things happening.
That's kind of sorry. Go ahead. Continue about
That's okay.
Scream.
So actually, no. I'm trying to think. So The Craft and Scream came out the same year.
Yeah.
I realized because both Skeet and I are in both films, and I realized that was a big year for us. So I must have shot it after the first season. But it was my first lead in the movie.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of people are like, "Why did you choose to do horror when you don't watch horror?" Because I don't. And I was like, "Listen, I was a lead in a movie. I'd never done one before, and I, had this great opportunity. I auditioned for it, worked my butt off, and got the role, and got to do it. And boy, was I lucky. But yeah, it was a big time for all of us. I mean, really, not only did we kind of grow up together, we became famous together, and it was the same with the Scream crowd. And there's something, no one teaches you how to be famous,
Especially not back then. There was no guidebook for that.
I mean, life is hard enough to navigate at those ages, I think, and then to navigate it with this, in front of millions of people, it's a thing.
Yeah, and you kind of almost have to
So
turn
I think
to one
that's
another
also why we
to
got
support each
so
other.
close, because everybody went on to do other things. Like we all went on to do other things. And
Yeah.
we're very blessed and really lucky. But I also am very grateful to Party of Five for giving us that platform to be seen and have people be interested in us.
In a different way too, right? Because Scream is like this mega franchise that's like, the curtain of it being a horror flick and a horror franchise. It's a very different approach to who you are as an actor and to that franchise. Then I would imagine you have a special place in your heart for Party of Five.
We just had dinner the other night, and we were just talking about how I don't think any of us have been on a project that is as meaningful, not only to us but to audiences, as that is, in the sense of looking at human nature, looking at relationships, looking at family, looking at what's important, not just entertainment, you know what I mean?
And may I say a responsible way, and I'm saying this coming from being sort of like,
Euphoria, having an issue with
thank you,
euphoria.
okay, I'm very triggered, and I can't watch it. I do see it, it comes up on my FYP in little bits, and I'm like, no, Maddie, no! But you were responsible, do you know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like there was sort of a sense of like this is how we're handling it, we're gonna see this through, so that we don't just like drop him, and unfortunately I do feel like that's not being handled as responsibly, but that's maybe my own issue that I need to go to a therapist.
It didn't glamorize the issue.
Right. See, that I think is the issue.
That's the problem. Is I think sometimes when you watch these other shows, it's almost like it's seeming as though it's cool,
right?
And it's not cool. It's
right.
a real hardship, right?
Yeah, and I think the focus was to try and tell authentic feeling stories, and there was something about the stakes of the show, what was at stake for this family, and then what was at stake for all of them as individuals within the family that, like Nev said, it's as meaningful as anything I'll ever do, and it feels like it's the only thing I've ever done where people come up and they talk about it, and this like emotion wells up in them like they just watched an episode last week. And it's cool to be part of something that had that kind of an impact.
Well, speaking of people coming up, go ahead and come up. We have two microphones right there, and I'd love to hear from you guys. Obviously, there are open books over here, and yeah.
I'm just gonna, before we start, it's so long ago, there's so much I don't remember. So if you're gonna ask a really specific question, you might have to give me the answer.
You may already know the answer.
You may already know. All right, question number one, go ahead.
Hi, my name's Emily. My question is, I love all of you, by the way. My question is for Lacey. So I'm a huge Hallmark fan. So
Thank you so much.
So are you going to do any more crossword mysteries?
A lot of decisions are being made about that. I'm not entirely sure.
You just got a new movie deal with them, right?
Yeah,
For like 2 years.
Yeah, I'm gonna be staying there. We're creating a lot. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. I love working for them. I think it, honestly, over the last couple of years, it's become not only just do I enjoy the work so much, but I think the whole channel just puts a little bit of goodness back into the world, and I think more than ever we need it. So I'm really honored to be a part of it. But I'm not sure about crossword, but we have some other ones in the works that if you are a fan of the movies, I think you'll be excited when those are finally announced. Possibly. But yeah, I know this is the most vague answer because I'm not allowed to say just yet. But Brennan and I, he's a dear friend of mine, we've done 9 movies together now, and it's like top priority that we find something to do together, if not that.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Next question over here. We're gonna go back and forth.
Hello, my name's Samantha, and I just want to find out what you think your characters would be today.
What a good question.
We were just talking about this.
Oh my goodness. It's hard to say.
It's really hard to say, but I can say, over the years that people have said like, oh, would you ever, want to revisit the Salinger family? That's been my biggest curiosity, really, is the question of like, where would these people be now? Who would they be to each other? What would they be doing with their own lives? I don't know, it's hard to...
Could that be an interesting thing to revisit?
Yes. Absolutely. You guys, yes, absolutely, yes. I'll say it. Hey, over here, next question.
Hi, I'm Jeanette from Michigan.
Go Michigan!
So I remember early on the moment when you guys when the show won the Golden Globe Award, and as you said, the ratings were kind of low at the time, and I remember the look of pure shock from all of you. Can you talk a little bit about that moment? Did it help the show? How did it affect you?
I remember being a kid there. I had Doc Martens on and a tuxedo or something, I think. And no one thought we would win, right? I mean, it was a big surprise.
People were mad that we won. We could tell at the awards. They're like, who are these kids?
Well,
all in here and
I just remember, Scott, you grabbed me. We all jumped up and burst into tears, and you grabbed me and picked me up in a big hug.
Yes. But if this was the room where the Golden Globes were and this were the stage, we were like by the
back, because I don't think anyone expected us to win, so they put us way in the back, by the bathroom.
And the thing that I thought was the story I told that I thought was so funny was, I can't remember the woman, but it was a woman and the actor Blair Underwood so they were the ones presenting. And they were like, the nominees are, and it was literally like every hit show, right? And us. And she goes, party of 5, and he goes, whoa! On stage. Like, I don't think you're supposed to do that.
Don't do that, Claire. Come on now.
Oh, but that was so much fun. You know, another memory I have about that, going back to work the next day and getting to celebrate with the crew who worked so tirelessly, and they are, you know, it's such a collaboration. And it was like just so exciting to celebrate with everyone who was a part of it the next
All
day.
I can think is, why did I wear that?
You remember that right now?
I knew nothing about clothing. I didn't know you could hire a stylist. I didn't even know where you could buy clothes. I wore some really weird goth thing. I didn't know what the Golden Globes. I looked terrible. I didn't even know what the Golden Globes were. I got there and I was like, oh no. I made my necklace the week before, and actually I still have it, and it was really cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, big fashion mistake.
But it did help an enormous amount.
My dress?
Yes.
Your necklace, your self-made necklace. No, it kind of it put us on the map with a lot of people that didn't know we were there yet, I think.
Oh, you stayed at my
Took care of me, so like my mom couldn't come.
Oh my God, I
you couldn't bring people,
forgot.
and you took me out with you afterwards to make sure I was like
Oh
safe.
my gosh,
And then
I
you made like
forgot.
croissants the next morning, and we had a
Oh,
sleeper
such a good big sister.
You were such a good sister. Such a good sister. Yes.
Okay, next question.
My name is Tori, and this question is for Nev. I was wondering if you preferred to play the role of Julia or Sydney.
I can't pick. I mean, they're both completely different animals. You know what I mean? I mean, doing television is wonderful because you get to carry a story of a character. You grow, you know, and that's not to say, I mean, I've been very lucky with Sydney. It's 25 years as well, but it's 5 installments. The journey on television is that it's, well, for us, it was 10 months of weekly living with this character and feeling them. And I loved the experience of that. And actually the last episode, it was like a death for us. I mean, we bawled our eyes out. It was so hard to realize there weren't gonna be, Julia had no words left. Bailey where was the story? We were disappearing. It's a very surreal experience when you play someone for that long. So that was magical. I mean, to get to play a character for that length of time is pretty phenomenal. And Sydney's a whole other animal. I mean, to get to play a woman who represents to a lot of people just this fierceness and, you know, someone who's not a victim, that, again, just a huge, huge honor, you know, to have the opportunity to be that for people.
Awesome. Let's go over here.
Hi, my name's Jamie. I'm from South Windsor, Connecticut, and I guess I sort of have a two-part question. The first part would probably be, what's a storyline you would have liked to have seen explored that wasn't, and maybe one that you did explore that you hated playing?
Well, I mean, I went through every first that a girl from 11 to 17 goes through on TV. So those were also things I was either yet to experience in real life or also going through, and it was a bit awkward at times. That being said, I have nothing but the best memories from the show. And you know what I always say in interviews too, I feel like so much of who I am today is a reflection of everyone that I grew up with during that time, and how wonderful these people and everyone else were, and the love that I was left with from that experience. I was very lucky. It could have been very different. But as far as storylines, I don't know.
So you felt you had a safe space in all of those firsts that you had to experience in front of the camera?
Absolutely,
One in
because we
particular?
became brothers and sisters. And,
Right.
You know, first love, first heartache, first bra. I mean, all the things.
What about like the first kiss? Did you like talk to them and be like, oh gosh, I'm nervous, I have to do this?
Yeah, everyone on set knew it was my actual first kiss, so that was mortifying. Let's be honest.
Are you talking to them? Are you like, oh my gosh, I'm so nervous?
No, I think I asked
I mean, we definitely knew that it was, God, gosh, I felt for her. I mean, that's a hard thing to have your first kiss be, negotiated for you, basically. Imagine. It's going to be this person, and this is how it's going to go, and it's going to be in front of 60 people. I mean, God, good luck. You were Lacey was such a pro.
Right?
Such a pro.
It's gotta be that theater background, lady.
Yeah.
I mean, you were just a pro from day one.
So sweet. I just enjoyed it. I knew I was lucky to be there. I knew it was something special.
Yeah.
And I was really thankful to be there.
That's awesome.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, next question over here.
Hi, I'm Jessica from Connecticut. We've all been dressed up in 90s outfits all weekend, so my question is, if you were stranded on an island and you could only be wearing a 90s outfit, what would you be wearing?
Maybe a piece of 90s kind of outfit, yeah.
Mine would be overalls and Converse, because I think that's all Claudia wore for the first 3 years.
I was in really awkward jeans and chenille sweaters, which always said on the label flammable. It was very, very worrying. Seriously.
You had the Phoenix Chanel sweaters too, right? They were always
Lots and lots of them.
Yeah, I like
Then I would hold a pillow in front of me every time I sat down, and Scott was like, "Why are you doing that?" I'm like, "Covering my paunch." I don't know. On an island. Well, islands are hot, so I can't have a chenille sweater. Is those jelly shoes? Are those nice?
Oh, those are
yes.
either.
I've really been loving everyone's fluorescent scrunchies. Isn't that 80s though? Is that 80s? I don't know, but I like them.
Scrunchy coming at you. I'd probably have acid wash jeans and Doc Martens and
Would you wear Doc Martens?
Yeah.
Those are good, right?
The same ones that matched the ones that Lacey wore to the Golden Globes.
Yep. And I wore those things 2 times to the Golden Globes, apparently. They were such a hit the first time. I wore them again.
Doc Martens are back in a big, big way
Yeah, they
too,
are.
so
Yeah, they are.
you'll probably be able to find this stuff in stock. All right, go ahead.
Hey guys, I'm Caitlin. I have 2 questions for you. Would you prefer TV, film, or theater? And do you have any dream projects that you haven't gotten to do yet that you would hope to do?
I mean, I love all 3. I suppose if I could make the living I needed to doing theater, maybe I would just do that because I do love it. And there's something so immediate and alive. It's like a living, breathing thing that's new every time you do it. But there's advantages to all 3. I mean, I kind of really love, and I've spent so much time making television, and I do like the idea of being part of a family when you're making something that is meaningful to you. And I've never had a family like we had, but I've had some other great ones. And so, yeah, I think I'd probably say TV just edges the other 2 out for me.
I was in Les Mis when I was a little girl, and I played young Cosette and young Eponine. And I think every young Cosette wants to be the older Eponine when they grow up. And I never had the chance. So, I mean, I'll be washing dishes in my kitchen, and I'll bust out into On My Own. On My Own! And A Little Fall of Rain. Yeah. The best.
Yes.
So, I don't know how or when or what.
I feel like singing at the end of the day.
Yes.
At the end of the day. I'm so tired while I'm doing dishes.
At some point in time, I want to play Eponine just for one night.
That's awesome.
She said it here.
It's my dream.
So, please.
I just love acting. I love theater because it's where I started as a dancer. I loved dancing on stage. Like I said before, they're all different animals, but just being an artist, right? We're so lucky to be able to be artists and tell stories. And these experiences are nice because when we're not in theater and we're doing TV, and this is the only opportunity we get to actually hear what you guys think of us, and it's always, you're all so wonderful and kind, and it's really so nice to be able to get the opportunity to say hi and meet you and hear what you get from what we do,
Yeah, thank you so much.
Next question.
Hi, my name is Ina. I'm from Philly. Lacey, this question is for you. We're actually the exact same age to the year and the day. We're one
No, wait, we're about to have a big birthday this year.
Yeah. My question is, well, first of all, I loved you in Mean Girls.
What?
And my question is, can you spill some tea on what it was like to party with Lindsay Lohan back in the day?
I'm not going to answer that question.
That whole whole movie was so much fun. I
You mean on film or in life?
Just in general, like I think that was just a fun time.
It was the most fun.
Yeah.
I turned 21 while we were filming. On my 21st birthday, we were shooting in a mall, and the crew brought me this cake and sang happy birthday, and the whole like mall joined in. And like every day, there was just the biggest challenge was not laughing when we weren't supposed to, because everyone was so funny. I learned so much because I had come off a Party of Five just a few years prior, which was obviously much more dramatic, and so I had never done a straight comedy like that. So I learned a lot, and it was a blast. Thank you.
She was so good in that movie that I was in a hotel room and I watched that movie, and it took me till the end of the film to realize it was her. Like literally, and I was like, wait, what? And I had to go back and watch it again. It was so good because you're not There's not a big bone in your body.
She was misunderstood.
She's so good. So many layers.
Incredible, right?
Not just a slapstick character. You had so many layers.
Thanks. That's so kind of you.
Yes. Okay, next question.
Hi, I'm Brittany from Central New York. And my question is, I know sometimes they say actors don't like to work with kids or animals. So how is it working with the Owens and Thurber?
The Thurber story is fantastic. Go ahead.
So I usually had the Thurber storylines, and I was usually trying to get him to do things, and his name was Winston. He was a sweet dog. He didn't know how to do all the things, but that's okay, it was a dog. And so he had to like lick my face, and so they would put peanut butter on my cheek. They put wet dog food at one point. It was pretty gross. But he was so sweet, and the babies were so sweet, and I always got so excited. I wanted a baby since I was a baby. I got so excited when they would let me have Owen in the scene, and and then the children that played him growing up, they were all wonderful.
Have you seen them or reconnected with them at all?
Well, there were a bunch of them.
Yeah.
There were different, 4 different sets of Owens, I think, because they're all twins, right? Because at that age, you have to use twins to work those hours. They're all really sweet, weren't they?
They're so sweet, and I found people on Instagram.
Yeah.
Some of us follow each other now, so it's nice to catch
That's
up.
very sweet. Okay, next question. I'll try to get to all of you guys, but we'll definitely cap the line now.
Hi, I'm Don. My question is kind of a little bit of a follow-up of the last one. How is it adapting to, like, when you have to change, like, the Owens, especially in the later years when they start getting storylines? Like, is it tough to adapt to each new actor, or is it just like a smooth transition?
Well, it's funny because when we were just talking about the baby Owens, do you guys remember when? So there's a great episode where Owen walks for the first time, and
I think I remember that.
And so our baby Owens couldn't walk yet, but they had written that he walked. And so they had to hire like a stunt baby to walk for Owen. And I remember being at craft service one day, I was like eating some pretzels, and they were auditioning these like little babies to be the stunt baby. And some of them were just like running, and they were like, no, too much. Others were like falling, and they were like, not enough. And so they found this one kid, and they were like, that's our stunt baby Owen. And on the day, he showed up, and it was like maybe, 2 weeks later, and he had like become a really good walker in the meantime. And so they were like, action, and they wanted him to just be taking kind of first steps, and he just like ran across the room. And so they went through all these crazy things where they were like putting tape balls on his feet. At one point they hung like a snack on a string so that maybe he would kind of wander up to this. It was really crazy.
That's a great question.
But no, I think every time, it was pretty seamless every time we got new Owens, wasn't it?
Yes.
And I think it became necessary to jump time here and there, especially when we went from like toddler Owens to our last Owen, who was Jacob.
Jacob.
And he did have storylines.
And he was wonderful.
Yeah. Oh, awesome. Okay, we have time for 2 more questions. So sorry if I couldn't get into you guys. It's just I'm really under the wire. Go ahead.
Hi guys.
Hey.
Hi. It's me, Carrie. So I just want to thank you all so much for Party of Five and for being so great to all of us this weekend and all the years past. I just want to know what career path do you think each Salinger has taken?
Well, Julia was obviously really into writing, right? That was her thing. So I would hope that she had some success there.
Yeah.
I think Claudia's still playing the violin. Yeah, I think she's a musician.
Just really badly.
Yeah, she's kidding. She's in her tent alone.
You were amazing. It was amazing. Claudia, I mean, Lacey had to learn just to be able to pull off looking like she could play these pieces. She had to practice a lot. Like, she's not just doing lines and doing school in her trailer and then playing the violin, learning to play the violin. I mean, it was phenomenal.
I think maybe Bailey would be like a drug and alcohol counselor, or like a psychologist maybe.
Awesome. All right, this will be our last question. Go for it.
Hi, my name's Sarah. I love all of you guys. But my question's for Lacey. I was gonna ask if you could recite part of the opening of The Wild Thornberrys as Eliza.
Oh my gosh. Oh my goodness. Okay, I haven't done that voice in like 20 something years. But I actually had to do it for a video game recently. I'm so embarrassed. Do it. You can do it. Don't look at me. Okay.
Stand in front of you. Here, put the pillow.
My
Put
face
the
is so
pillow.
hot.
We'll put the pillow right here.
So hot. I like this. Okay, hold on. Yeah. Okay, I'm trying to remember the lines. Okay, hold on.
Hi, I'm Eliza Thornberry, just part of your average family. I've got a mom and a dad and a sister. Oh, then there's Darwin. He found us.
Honestly, such a talented group of people, humble, amazing, everything that you can hope that they would be, and obviously still very much in love with each other. Thank you guys very much for this panel. I love you guys. Thank you again. They'll be photo ops and at their table, so go say hi to them because time's ticking. Okay, bye everybody.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. As a reminder, all general admission must exit the panel area at this time. Once again, all general admission must exit the panel area at